Alrighty, y'all. To kick off the program, it's always very important for us to acknowledge the land that we are in and the generations that it has taken for us to be here today. So we want to start off with our land acknowledgement, and our land acknowledgement reads, we recognize that Berkeley sits on the territory of the Huichin, the ancestral and unceded land of the Chochenyo Ohlone, the successors of the historic and sovereign Verona Band of Alameda County. This land was and continues to be of great importance to the Ohlone people. We recognize that every member of the Berkeley community has and continues to benefit from the use and occupation of this land since the institution's founding in 1868. Consistent with our values of community and diversity, we have a responsibility to acknowledge and make visible the university's relationship to Native peoples. By offering this land acknowledgement, we affirm indigenous sovereignty and will work to hold University of California, Berkeley more accountable to the needs of American Indian and indigenous peoples. Thank you all so much for being here and honoring the generations that it took for us to be here today.
So today we have a full agenda for you all. This morning is just a snippet of what you'll see at some of our tables during some of our breakout sessions. This agenda that you see above you is also in your programs or in your check-in bag, so please feel free to take a look at that. We also realize that you can't make it to everything. So there's a lot of intersectionality that exists among you. You identify as multiple, you carry many different identities with you. So please know that if you can't make it to a breakout session, you can stop by the tables. The tables will be set up in this ballroom from 11 a.m. until 4 p.m., so you'll have plenty of time to step in to check in with folks, okay? Thank you all for spending your day with us. We also want to acknowledge that while this is a moment that we are celebrating, this is the first time we've been together in 3 years, so you might hear a little nerves in my voice. It's exciting nerves, but it's also really, really exciting to be here to celebrate you all. There are a lot of folks who made today possible. Our EOP team and staff, if y'all are here, can you please stand up and identify yourselves, signal, wave, cheer? Thank you, thank you. There are so many folks here to celebrate you all and the proud accomplishments that you've had. So know that today will be a day that we're celebrating you all. We're also realizing that there are a lot of folks that are celebrating many different religious holidays, honoring the time, the challenges, the struggles that it takes to get here. So thank you for enjoying this time with us. We don't take that lightly.
Beautiful. All righty, y'all. So to kick us off, we have the one, the only, the current Chancellor of UC Berkeley, Chancellor Carol Chris, who began her term as the 11th Chancellor of the University of California, Berkeley on July 1st, 2017. A celebrated scholar of Victorian literature, our Chancellor is also well known as an advocate for quality, accessible public higher education, a proponent of the value of a broad education in the liberal arts and sciences, and a champion of women's issues and diversity on college campuses. Without further ado, our Chancellor, can we give it up for her?
Good morning, everyone. It is so wonderful to see you in person after so many months of Zoom. I'm Carol Christ, as Ruben said, UC Berkeley's Chancellor. I'm thrilled that you're with us today to take a deeper dive into everything that Berkeley has to offer, and hopefully you'll decide to join us and become part of our extraordinary campus community. I saw people actually signing their intent to register out there with the cowbells. That's great. I want to express my respect and admiration for all of you, students and families alike, and for the commitment, sacrifice, and hard work I know it took to get here. Gaining admission to Berkeley is a remarkable achievement in the best of times, making your accomplishments all the more amazing given the challenges that you faced in the last 2 years. Your resilience, your perseverance, only adds to my confidence and conviction that you belong here at Berkeley and that we will be fortunate and thankful to have you as members of our community. I realize that the decision of where to enroll can be a source of anxiety and uncertainty. Know that you're not alone, that we're here to help and support you. I urge you to reach out and make the best use of the guidance and resources on offer through our Educational Opportunity Program and across our campus throughout this day and also beyond. Just as you've been supported by your family, friends, and community on your journey to this day, we'll be here for you on the road ahead. These are some of the reasons that we're here today, emphasizing the power of community. A strong community is what enables and empowers students to take intellectual risks. A strong community embraces and supports diversity of every sort. A strong community is what we all need to thrive and succeed, to feel a true sense of belonging. Berkeley's excellence depends on diversity of thought and perspective, both of which are the result of and profoundly enhanced by the diversity of our campus community. For these and for so many other reasons, we're working hard to increase the diversity of our student body, and we're prioritizing our outreach to students like you who come from underrepresented communities, who are the first in their families to attend college. By virtue of your lived experiences, your perseverance, your academic achievements, and know that you can and will, as students, make this university a better, more interesting, more vibrant place through your contributions as scholars, as leaders, as members of the Cal community. Thank you again for coming, and I look forward to seeing you next fall. Go Bears!
So next, we'd like to spend a little bit of time getting to know who's in this room. Who of us have shared journeys? Who of us have a little bit of different journeys? One thing that brings us all together is that you were all accepted to the top public university in the world. You have a very competitive application class, over 100,000 applicants. So let's take a moment, take a deep breath, clap, let's celebrate you all. Congratulations. We know you're here because this decision is heavy. It's not one to take lightly, and we know you're in the process of choosing where you want to commit your time to. We know that some of you may be experiencing imposter syndrome, worrying that maybe you don't really belong. Will you survive? Are you worthy of being here in a place that's so different from home? You will be okay, and you will survive, and you are worthy of being here. There were no mistakes in your admission. Some of you may be experiencing survivor's guilt, feeling like someone in your community was smarter or better, or someone else deserved this opportunity to be admitted to Berkeley. You got this opportunity, you deserve it, and you will bring your community along with you. You will bring your families with you in this. So we have a few prompts that we want to share with you all. Again, to get to know you, to share some moments of reflection. And we'll ask you in a moment, for our students, we'll have a beginning section, and for our families and loved ones, we'll have another part. But please start, I'll pass to Ruben. Please either raise your hand, stand, or otherwise signify, indicate that you identify with one of these grounding statements. Ruben, I'll pass to you.
Yep. All right, y'all, here we go. So students are coming first. Be ready. I'm gonna make a statement. Please indicate, raise your hand, or stand, whichever you feel most comfortable with and is most accessible to you, your body this morning. First statement is, please indicate if you will be the first in your family to go to a 4-year college. Raise your hand or otherwise indicate. Put your hands down. We have a couple statements. You're welcome to clap, but you're gonna get tired. So let's hold the clap until the end, okay? Or you can snap, give it the vibes. For those of us that are not familiar, when you snap, it's not like hurry up and rush. No, it's just like acknowledging the feels, okay? Cool. Second, please indicate if you did not think that you would get into Berkeley. Raise your hand or otherwise signify if you did not think you would get into Berkeley. Hey-o, put your hands down. Look at us being honest. Third, please indicate if you did think that you were going to get into Berkeley. When you were applying, you were like, I am the one. I'm about to get in here. Okay. Shout out to you all. We're here for it. I love that for you. Put your hands down. Now, please indicate if you are between attending Berkeley or some other university. You still haven't made your choice. Put your hands up. I'm going to invite all the staff to look at the hands, look at the faces. That is who we need to have a conversation shortly after this program. Thank y'all so much. Put your hands down. Gotcha. Please indicate if you think that you cannot afford coming to Berkeley. Please raise your hand or indicate if you're worried about affording Berkeley. Yeah, that's right. Yep. Look at them parents, look at them family members. Absolutely. Okay, put your hands down. Beautiful. Please indicate if you had to overcome challenges to be here today. Raise your hand if you had to overcome challenges to be here today. Put your hands down. Please indicate if you are afraid or worried of coming to Berkeley. Raise your hand if you are afraid or worried of coming to Berkeley. Beautiful. Please indicate if you had people who helped you along the way to be admitted into Berkeley and to be here today. Raise your hand if you had people help you along the way to be here today. Put your hands down. And the last one for our students is, please indicate if you are committed to making an impact on your family, your community, or the world. Please raise your hand if you're committed to making an impact on your family, your community, or the world. Give it up for our students, y'all. We do that exercise because we want to make sure that we acknowledge that many of us have shared experiences that unless we lift them, we have no idea. Maybe some of us came into this morning thinking like, man, I'm the only one that really had to struggle. Or I'm the only one that is worried about, can I actually make it here? Or you might be thinking like, everybody else here is smarter than me and more worthy than me. What am I doing in this room? And we wanted to acknowledge the fact that all of us are moving through those, and that we want to be intentional about letting you all know we're not here to perform. We're not here to sell Berkeley. We're here to celebrate your journey. We are in awe of you. We are honored and humbled to be with you, and we want to create a space where you know that we can be authentic with one another. So thank you all so much, students, for being honest. I'm going to pass the mic to Lauren to move to our parents and to our family members.
Thank you, Ruben. And that statement is very true for our families and parents, too. We want to know whether there are things that we can support you all with. So for our parents and our families, our guardians, our loved ones, siblings, if you're here with someone who got admitted, can you please indicate if you are proud of the student that was admitted to Berkeley today? Yes. Woo, there we go. I see extra proud in the room. That's right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Can you please indicate if you're worried about your student leaving home? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can you please indicate if you have questions about what it means to go to college?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Can you please indicate, I missed one, sorry. Can you please indicate if you're excited about your student leaving home? There we go.
She said, yeah, no.
Okay, we saw 2 hands in the back. All right. Can you please indicate if you're worried about finances or paying for college? Yeah.
Oh, we got a woo.
Can you please indicate if you believe your student will have an impact on your family, community, and the world? Yeah. There we go. There we go. Thank you all for participating. The theme of today's program is powering community, and you'll hear that a lot today. This is a community right here in this room starting right now. You all will be here to celebrate each part of your journey. You'll be here to get support from each other, from our staff, from our folks that are here even before your first day of classes. The only difference, we said earlier there was a process that happened for your admissions. There were no mistakes, and UC Berkeley wants you here. We want you here, we want to celebrate you, and we want to make sure that you can live up to what your dreams and goals are for this world, for your family, for the future. You will reach your fullest potential, And this is just one opportunity that you'll have along the way. Please look around at the village that's here, the students that are admitted beside you, the families that are all caring for you, and the folks that will help you be the shapers of tomorrow. Are we worthy of you? I hope so. Thank you again for joining us. And as we transition, sorry, there we go. Thank you. I want to invite our Vice Chancellor of Equity and Inclusion to the stage. Danya Matos began her tenure as the 4th Vice Chancellor for the Division of Equity and Inclusion at the University of California, Berkeley in August of 2021. Prior to coming to Berkeley, she was the inaugural Associate Chancellor and Chief Diversity Officer at the University of California, Merced. Vice Chancellor Matos advises, guides the campus on diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, and justice. She is the executive sponsor on multiple identity-based standing committees, and it has been an honor to watch her join our community and demonstrate what it truly means to lead with a vision of love that centers people, community, and creates change through collective wisdom. Thank you. And you're welcome.
Oh, wow, the view from up here is so much better. Buenos dias, good morning, bonjour, that's all I speak. So I'm trying to learn more languages. So if you want to come teach me one, please do. I think languages are such powerful ways to connect. As Lauren said and Ruben, I have the extraordinary honor of leading the division under which EOP sits and co-leading with all of you. So please, a round of applause for them and an acknowledgement of the extraordinary capacity of all of that. One of the wonderful things about working at a university is that you get to relive it all the time, well, at least the good parts, right, of what it meant to go to a university. And the power of this day is just one of those days. I like to share often the most important parts of my bio is that I'm a proud Latina, proud Afro-Latina from Puerto Rico that was raised by a single mother. Oh, I heard some Puerto Ricans, is that, hey, Boricuas? And she taught me that I had responsibility to do something about the world I was inheriting. I was first in my family to navigate so many things, and we also navigated houselessness, food insecurity. And she always said, the world is going to be really good at telling you what you're not. I need you to be really good at knowing who you are and recognizing what you bring. And so I share that with you because all of that is going to carry you through to your journey. There's so much interconnectedness in our story, so I want to acknowledge you for all that you bring, all it took to get here, all that which we know and all that which we don't know. Lauren and Ruben stole a little of my thunder because I was going to ask you to just take a moment and look at your neighbor and really connect with them and just say, thank you for being here. So if you want to pause, do that in front, behind you. Turn to your neighbor and just say that. We are so excited to have you here at UC Berkeley, and I hope you connect and continue to do that on your journey, hoping that you choose us, knowing that many of you have already. You bring so many assets to this campus. I remember my own journey, remembering, oh, wow, I'm so lucky I got in. And then I realized, no, they are so lucky that I am here, because you are going to leave UC Berkeley better than you found it. I'm sure of it. One of the most important and powerful pieces about community is that some of them you know and some of them you don't know. And so I guarantee you that we are each here rooting you on. If it's a glance or an email or if we never meet, when you walk across that stage, we're so incredibly proud of you. And when you graduate, know that we are here with you, and it all started today. I hope that you remember this moment and this day. With that, I just want to say thank you again for being here. Thank you for all that you bring. Know that your story and your journey matters, and it's going to contribute to the power in community. Thank you.
Beautiful. All righty, y'all. How many of y'all thought you were going to come to an event where you were going to hear from the Chancellor, the Vice Chancellor, and be in a room full of people that come from your backgrounds and have similar experiences as you? Raise your hand if you thought that was going to happen today. Okay, shout out to you all. Everybody else, I'm with you. I'm like mind blown, and I knew what was going to happen today. So thank you all so much for being here. Can we give it up for our Chancellor and our Vice Chancellor one more time for being here with us? All right, y'all. So now I have the honor of introducing somebody who was my RA, my counselor, one of my biggest role models, one of my biggest heroes, and now he serves as he is in his 4th year as our CE3 Access and Opportunity Program Subcluster Director. That's how you know you're legit, when like it's a sentence-long title. Without further ado, let me bring Brother Meng So up here.
Is that me? Isn't this so much better than Zoom? It's so good to be here with y'all today. At Berkeley, we like to celebrate by doing 3 things. 1 is clapping, which y'all know how to do. 2 is snapping, if y'all could do it with me. And 3 is Berkeley rain clapping. Do y'all know what that is? Clap, shh. Let's try to do it one time. Shh. Oh, one more time. So today is a celebration of you. Congratulations. But also congratulations to the parents, guardians, siblings, and friends of today's admits. This is your moment and celebration too. You and your families are inspiration to us. So let's have a moment of joy to celebrate all of you with a rain clap. And the reason why many of our staff members are here today is because there's a little bit of you in us and a little bit of us in you. And what do I mean by that? We were all once in your shoes as first-generation, low-income students of color going to college. Both EOP and USP have a special place in my heart. It was a place I found support at Berkeley. It's the place that offered me my first work-study job in 2005, 17 years ago, and I haven't left since. I think that makes me a super senior. It's a place where I grew up as a person. I grew up professionally, a place where I made lifelong friends, and I hope you will too. Along the way, it's been a privilege to witness the growth and development of CE3. But what is CE3? It's an acronym for the Centers for Educational Equity and Excellence, which you'll see right here. It's multiple programs that function under one umbrella and is dedicated to one thing, and that one thing is you. So whether you're a student parent, a foster youth, a veteran, a transfer student, what you could expect to receive from all of us is holistic counseling, connection to campus resources, and a sense of belonging. It's individualized support delivered with equal parts care, wisdom, and understanding. But CE3 is more than a collection of programs. It's an amazing community. It's a village of committed people that offer each other support, community, and advocacy. And I want you to remember 2 things about CE3 through a story. And if you don't know me, I like stories, and this is part of my story. I remember when I first got into Berkeley, and I felt this feeling of being alone. I grew up in Hayward, which is about 30 miles away, and I took Bart here to this very same event by myself because my parents couldn't afford to take off work. I got off Bart and took my first step onto campus, and it felt like I was completely in a different world. Everyone was wearing Patagonia and Birkenstocks. It just felt different. Not different bad, just different. All of the feelings of imposter syndrome, survivor's guilt sank in. Will I fit in? Do I belong? Can I make it? Nervousness, anxiety, all of the feelings. And then I came to this event, and I met my EOP counselor, Nate Carroll, who's now retired. I was so overwhelmed, and I went up to him. He was like 6'4", and I was like, "Hi, Mr. Carroll." And he responded by saying, "You could call me Uncle Nate." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And he said, "You're gonna be okay. I'm gonna take care of you and support you like you're my own nephew." It felt like he was a mind reader. In that moment, I felt safe, and all the feelings I felt washed away. At Berkeley, especially early on, you may feel alone, you may feel isolated, but remember in these moments that you are connected. You are connected to us, you're connected to CE3. The second thing that Nate said to me was, you know what, man? I gotta be real with you. I was like, oh, snaps, here it comes. They're gonna take away my admissions. He was like, you know what, man? I have to be real with you. Berkeley isn't easy. And is it meant to be? You might get knocked down. You might get knocked down a few times. But you only lose if you stay down. By a show of hands, how many of you have been knocked down or been through hard times? Take a look around the room. That's right. We've been through some things. The question before you today, and likely tomorrow, is how are you going to react? How will you get back up and keep moving forward in the face of unpredictable challenges and life adversity? Yes, we will all be here to celebrate you through the good times. You can count on that, like we are here today. But most importantly, like Nate said, we will be there with you through the not-so-good days, through the hard times, through the adversities. When you get knocked down, we'll be right there by your side to get right back up. You will grow because of Berkeley, and Berkeley will grow and become better because of you. I think I'm running out of time. I had 2 minutes. I took like 5. So I'm going to wrap up with 2 things that I hope you can take away from my remarks. One is please remember that you are not alone and we are in this together. And 2, CE3 is your home. We will be here to offer you understanding, guidance, and affirmation, but it will be you that leads the way. Remember that in CE3, you will always belong. You will always be understood. And you will always be loved. We have already chosen you, and we hope that you consider choosing us. We started with a moment of joy, and let's close with a moment of joy. One more rain clap, y'all. I'm going to pass the mic to my good friends and colleagues, Ruben and Lauren.
That was beautiful. I'm still trying to convince Meng to do like a late night radio show or like a podcast of like depth and nourishment, because every time the feels keep flowing. Something that we wanted to lift for you all in terms of CE3, many of us come from communities where high schools didn't have programs and services for us. So we want to make sure that you all know that after this program, there's going to be folks all around this space and outside, and we all represent different programs and services for you all, because we want to make sure that you know that you're never going to be alone in this space. Whatever it may be, whatever identities you may have, most likely someone just like you has been over here that we have learned from their experience, and we wanted to make it better for you all to be here today. So if you have any questions whatsoever of these programs and services, feel free to come up to us, and we're happy to guide you in the right direction. But can we give it one more time for Brother Meng?
Thank you, thank you. So many of you have received an email or a welcome message from EOP, again, the Educational Opportunity Program. But I'm sure there are still a lot of questions about what services we provide. We will have a table over here you'll see today if for folks who want to stop by and ask more questions. But I just want to also share a little bit about who we are and the services we can provide you all. So first, EOP provides holistic academic counseling to students that identify as either first generation, low income, or historically underrepresented. If you received an email, that means you already are EOP. If you're here, that means you are EOP. You're eligible for any of the services that we provide and offer. Right now, our campus serves approximately 40% of the undergraduate students on campus. That means you are not alone in your experience. There are a lot of folks who identify as EOP, and again, a lot of folks who are utilizing our services. So we provide individual academic counseling, and that doesn't mean just picking your class schedule. It doesn't mean just figuring out what the summer school options are. It means, are you worried about balancing school and work? Are you worried about how you can manage taking care of family and going to school? Does it mean you failed an exam, your very first time ever in life, and now you're worried about whether you will still survive Berkeley? You will, and we will talk to you through it all. If you need financial assistance, we work with the Financial and Scholarships Office, who's also here. Sylvia, raise your hand, we'll be speaking later. We offer community spaces. We hire a lot of students. We have a lot of students that are here tabling that you met at the event when you walked in, registered, took pictures with. We offer referrals. So please know that you are, again, in community. That word's coming up a lot. And you will have the opportunity to talk to us about any part of the journey that you need to. The other thing, so for our freshmen that just got admitted, we will start seeing freshman students for individual counseling right after their due Golden Bear advising. That happens on May 1st. You'll be able to enroll in July, and then we'll have a new student welcome in August. So I know there might be a lot of questions you have right now around picking classes, signing up for your first day. Don't worry, you will get all the support you need to do that, and it will happen after you complete your Golden Bear advising, we promise. Some of the other programs we offer, if you're interested in STEM, we have an EOP STEM program for students who are interested in science, technology, math, engineering. If you're thinking about going into pre-med. We have students that we hire to support some of our STEM community events. We've done visits to some of the local tech companies, and that was pre-pandemic, so we're hoping to get back to it soon. Let me not get you excited that it's back on right today. But we'll bring folks in. We do a lot of professional development workshops. So we work closely with our college partners and our career center. One thing we know is that campus is big. It's a lot bigger than high school, at least it was for me. And we want to help you know how to navigate campus. We want to make things feel a little bit smaller, make you feel like you will be able to survive. You will be able to. And so that's some of the support that we can provide for you all. All right, next, as we talk about finances, I'm going to give it to Ruben.
Yeah, give me this slide for sure. So this is our intro slide so we can bring the energy to our next speaker. Before we move, y'all, can y'all do me a favor? I'm really mindful of our somatic experience. If everybody wants to stand up, stretch a little bit, move a little bit, and as y'all are moving and stretching, we're gonna bring up our next speaker up. Feel free to do that. I'm gonna bring up to the stage now somebody who is internationally known, and I am not kidding. This is Sylvia Marquez. Sylvia Marquez is an absolutely phenomenal alumna of UC Berkeley, who is here to make sure that we have a conversation about financial aid and some of the financial circumstances that you might be experiencing right now. Our goal is to make sure that we map out information for you all, that you feel a little bit clear about how to read the information, how to process it, and how to make better decisions. Sylvia is known not just to be a phenomenal gifted speaker and educator, but Sylvia is at the forefront of advocating so that we can improve financial aid for all of our communities in California and nationwide. So can we please give it up for Sylvia Marquez today? Do you want the slide to here, or are you gonna go down?
I might do both.
Okay, this is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. There are some folks in the back. If y'all want to come in and grab a chair, grab a seat closer to the front, somewhere in the middle, folks that are on the edges want to move in so we can make space, that would be really, really great. Thank you. Good morning again. My name is Silvia Marquez. I use she, her, ella pronouns. Welcome. Bienvenidos, bienvenidas. I'm super excited that you are here. I wear a couple of hats on our campus. I am an associate director in financial aid and scholarships. I also am the implementation manager for our Latinx Thriving Institution Initiative. I'm super excited to be here with you. That photo is a little funny. I come from the Central Valley. I am a proud, unapologetic daughter of Mexican immigrants to this country. I'm the first in my family to graduate from college, to attend and graduate. And I know, thank you. I put 2.5 because I'm actually a student right now too, so we're working on that. I graduated in 1995 in social welfare. I know that one of the things that I was particularly concerned about when I was coming to Berkeley, and I came as a freshman, just like you, is money. I was not sure how I was going to pay for this. I knew I was coming, I had to figure it out. But I was terrified. And so my job and our role in financial aid is to empower all of you. To empower you with information, with guidance, to help you navigate this entire process. We know this is new for almost all of you. And so we are here to make sure you have the information you need. And so that's where I want to start. And if it's okay with all of you, I'm probably going to walk the room a little bit so I can see the slides because we don't have them projected up here. So first thing is first is we are your partners. So like I said, this is going to be a community effort. We've talked a lot about that today. Community effort. So that partnership is between us as an institution, you as the student, your parents if you're a dependent student, and then it's also incumbent upon all of us for you to apply for aid and for us to make sure that you have received every dollar from federal, state, and the university that you are eligible for. But that's going to be a group effort to make sure we can do that. I'm going to jump right into the cost. What I don't want you to take from this slide is the number at the bottom, because I know that can be a scary number. And so I want to spend a little bit of time talking about the costs and how we break them up. So you can see the top section is the direct costs. There are things that the institution is going to charge you for because you're a student here, right? So the first thing we charge you for is tuition and fees. You're here, you're enrolled, that's a charge. The other thing we would charge you for would be housing. If you live with us on campus in one of the residence halls, we will bill you for housing and food, correct? The next thing we charge you for is insurance, and we can talk a bit about the waivers. I don't want to spend a lot of time on that here, but that is a charge. And so it's important to know that those are the things we charge you for. That is not the total number at the bottom. There are other expenses that we know students are going to have solely on the basis of being a student. You have them now. When you go out, you eat out, you have those expenses. You might be buying books and supplies, things you need for your studies now that you've needed while you were in high school. Same idea, you're gonna have those expenses here, we're just not gonna charge you for them. Personal expenses, clothing, food, other things that you buy, shampoo, laundry detergent, because you're gonna need to take care of all of that when you're here, right? Those are expenses you're gonna have. So what we're trying to do when we're looking at the number at the bottom is take into account all of those estimated expenses we think you're going to have for 1 year. And then our job is to figure out how do we provide you enough funding to meet all of those expenses that you're gonna have for 1 year. Does that make sense? All right, great. So I want to spend a little time. How many of you have logged into Cal Central and have seen your financial aid? Awesome, okay. So this should look familiar. This is Cal Central, it's your portal, and the cost of attendance that I just talked about is in the middle, right? It gives you an idea of what we're trying to provide you enough aid for, okay? The next thing that you want to look at, I know some of you have not decided if you're going to be a Golden Bear, right? You're still shopping around, trying to figure out who gave me a better offer. Was it us? Was it that school down the street that starts with an S? Was it that other school, the Baby Bears down south? Who was it, right? So the thing you want to look at is not necessarily the cost or that cost of attendance. It's not the amount of the scholarship. That's not how you compare. How you compare is you take the total cost, which is that $40,000 in the middle, and you subtract out the grants and scholarships they've given you. That difference is what represents potentially the amount of loan, work study, the support maybe your family might need to provide outside scholarships. That's the number you want to compare from school to school. It is called the net cost. That in essence is the gap between the total expenses we think you're going to have and the amount of grants and scholarships. Does that make sense? Perfect. Okay. Let's see, what else did I circle up here? Gift aid, tasks. So our portal looks very different from all the other portals, right? So you need something that's going to help you compare school to school. There is something called a college financing plan. It looks like this. And right in the middle is the net cost. So you can compare from school to school. All the other schools should have given you something that looks like this. If you haven't seen ours, it is in Cal Central, okay? So this is what you're going to use to compare from school to school. I mentioned a little bit about net cost, loans, work study. The other thing is outside scholarships. That can help you, okay? And if you haven't started applying for outside scholarships, guess what? That's your job. That is your new job from here until you graduate from college. Spend 3 hours every month, block it out on your calendar, and start searching. Use your personal insight questions, change them up. All you have to do is change them up. Don't start from scratch, and then start applying. That's where you can start. At the bottom, you'll see our website. There are several scholarship search engines that you can start. There's video support, so I talked a little bit about net cost and how outside scholarships can help. We have a whole video on it. My colleague Marcus does a great job of explaining that, so definitely check that out on our website. We also know when you're filing your aid applications, you are using 2020 income, right? It's 2022. Things could have changed, and we're well aware that things have changed for many families over the last 2 years. And so we do entertain appeals if things have changed for you. We will open that process on May 1st and start collecting that information from families that are going to join us in the fall. We have students who have special circumstances. Maybe on the FAFSA or the DREAM Act application, it says you need to provide all parent information, but you have special circumstances where you're not in a position to provide that parent information for any number of reasons. Come talk to us, because there's a possibility that we might be able to consider those special circumstances and take them into consideration, okay? Online resources, please take a picture of this if you have the ability to. A lot of the resources I just talked about are available on our website. I've highlighted the 3 that are particularly useful, especially for our new students, the newly admitted students, FAQs, frequently asked questions. Please spend some time there. A lot of the questions we get are listed on our website. Lots of videos. Everything I just talked about and then some is on our website. Videos, we have a chat bot that has information English, Spanish, simplified Chinese, and Vietnamese. Parent information, and then forms. And then we're in community with you. We don't want this to be a scary process. We don't want it to feel overwhelming. We are coming to our partners in EOP, Undocumented Students, Student Parent Center, Transfer Center. We come to all of these spaces on a regular basis. So we are there. You can also come to us. These are some of the events that we are supporting. How do you get in touch with us? You are contacting Cal Student Central. They are the front line for financial aid, for registration, for billing. And guess what? We're open today. We're going to be open starting at 10:30. I'm not sure what time it is now. But do you see that big building right across the way, big white one with the columns? That is Sproul Hall. That's where we are. So starting at 10:30, in your bag, on the back side of your agenda, there is a QR code. You can join our virtual line today. We'll send you a text message to tell you approximately how long it's going to be before we have someone available to see you. And then you come right over. It tells you exactly where to go when you check in, and then you'll be able to meet with someone to guide you through the questions that you might have, okay? That's it. Did I do it in 10 minutes? Yes. All right. Okay, so now I get the fun part, because financial aid is not always super fun, but I get to do the first raffle. Yeah. Anything I want to say about this raffle?
So you're pulling 2. So Sylvia's going to do the first raffle, but what you don't know is you're doing 2 raffles. So we have 2 folks who are going to win, and there are swag bags that will be given out. Ruben will run them to whoever identifies. I know, I think y'all going to get better swag than we have.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I don't pick your ticket. I will try.
All right, Ruben's going to show the blanket as Sylvia. Let's see what this is.
Check the blanket. Ah, fancy. Look, you will have the seal. You'll be a golden bear. I don't even have one of those. Yeah. Okay, well, you get the idea, right? Yeah, okay. All right, there you go. Okay, get your tickets out. You should have got one when you checked in. All right, ready? Yeah, Ruben touched all of it. 114 0 1 4. They were close. 114014. Congratulations. Woohoo. We need a rain clap for that.
There we go.
Bang, starting a trend. All right,
Oh, here you
one
go.
more.
One more.
All right, here we go. Look at me making financial aid fun. Okay. All right, ready? Ready? 114 0 5 8. 114058. Woohoo! Woo!
Oh, wait, don't just think it's. Alrighty. Alrighty. So next, sorry, while I gather where we are next, I want to invite our students up, and as they're getting settled on stage, now you have a better sense of a little bit of what folks are doing on campus, the work that we do, how we can support you. But we also want you to have an opportunity to hear from some of our current students who were in your shoes not too long ago, some who are still there, but all who have made the decision to come to Berkeley. So I'm first gonna see, can we do an introduction of everyone? Are the mics working? Is it up? No? Okay.
Mic check, 1, 2.
Okay, perfect. So can I start with, and if it's not, okay, they might be, yeah, you can pass the mic if it's not. Okay. So can I start by having you all introduce yourselves, your name, what year you are, the pronouns you use, hometown, and major.
Hi, my name is Arisi. My full name is Ratu Arisi Laublavu. It's a mouthful, I know. I'm from Pacific Islander descent. I'm from Sacramento, California. My pronouns are he, him. I'm a double major, or I'm a recent graduate. That was a double major. My bad. I double majored in anthropology and social welfare.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Isabella. I'm a third year, majoring in molecular and cell biology. I'm from Orange County, and I am Mexican and Puerto Rican.
I think mine will. Hello, everyone. My name is Shaka Tolem. I'm a third year studying political economy, concentrating in the politics and economics of law and poverty, and I'm minoring in race and law. I just finished that. Highly recommend you guys do that minor, and public policy. I am from Dallas. That's where I was born, but I went to high school in the LA area, Van Nuys, Northridge area, for those of you who are familiar.
Yeah,
And then,
Shaka.
anything else? Yeah, I think that's it, right? Yeah. Oh, he, him pronouns.
Hi everyone, my name is Alexa Bañuelos. I'm a freshman here at Berkeley, so I was in your guys' position not too long ago. I'm an intended computer science major, yet to declare, so wish me luck. And I use they, them pronouns. And I went to school in El Cerrito, so I'm also from the area. So.
Thank you all for joining us. So this is going to be a quick one that I was going to ask with your introductions, but the intros were a little long to remember too. So can you please each share one word to describe how you felt after being admitted to Berkeley? One word.
I was super anxious, being blunt honest. I had like imposter syndrome mixed with a bit of a chip on my shoulder. Being blunt honest, I came from a continuation high school in Sacramento, and so when coming to UC Berkeley, like I immediately thought like, wow, I'm in a place of privilege and I don't feel like I belong here. But I think after meeting my brother Ming, who was my first mentor, I realized like, wow, like the fact that he made it through, I can definitely do it too. And so being able to see that I think definitely alleviated a lot of my anxiety.
I felt accomplished. I had like a spew of rejections like right before. So it was really cool. I think Berkeley was like one of the last ones too. Is that right? Yeah. So it was really nice. And my whole family is like they're really into Cal, so that was kind of cool.
For me, I felt blessed.
I would say turbulent, like it was a lot of emotions at once. I was excited, I was happy, I was scared, I was nervous, but I knew that I deserved that. So it was I felt accomplished too.
Thank you. So the first question, I'm going to ask Alexa if you could start, and Arisa, you'll be next to answer this question so you can prepare. Place yourself in the shoes of our newest Golden Bears and take yourself back to when you received your offer of admission to Cal. What is one word? You already said how you were feeling. And at that moment, describe one word for that moment and how you were feeling, and what was next for you.
So I already told you guys, I felt really turbulent. It was a lot of emotions at once. It was not that long ago, so I still remember pretty clearly. I was in my computer room, which was just my parents' closet, so I was in the dark on the computer. My parents were at work, so I was by myself. My little sister was sleeping, and so I opened that portal, and I see, oh, you got accepted. And I'm like, okay. I call my dad up, and I just start crying and crying. And he goes silent, and then he goes, Mija, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I got in. And I just hear him sigh, like the biggest sigh ever. And he told me later, he was like, yeah, I didn't know what to say, because he couldn't tell whether I got in or not. And so that was a very nervous moment for me. And so right before that, I got rejected from a few schools, and it made me feel very nervous for Berkeley, because I knew it was a school I really, really, really wanted to get into. So it was a pretty stressful moment. But I knew that I worked so hard in high school, and even like middle school and elementary school, like I was already working towards that point, like coming here to Berkeley. So I knew that regardless of whether I got accepted or not, I knew that I was a good student. I accomplished a lot, and I was still proud of my achievements. So I want all of you guys to be like super proud of yourselves, and I'm proud of you guys too. Like it makes me so happy to see all of you here. So yeah, and my parents, like whenever they're seeing our family in Mexico, they're like, yeah, our kid goes to Berkeley. Like nobody there knows what that is, so. But I'm happy regardless.
How was I feeling? Mind you, this is my experience like 5-6 years ago, so I guess I'm a super senior in that regard. When I first got admitted, I had no idea what Berkeley was, to be blunt honest. I originally thought UCLA was like the highest, and then when I was told Berkeley, I was like, oh shoot, I didn't know that. And then I later on learned more about Berkeley. My parents knew what Berkeley was before I did, so that was a shock for me as well. I think when I got admitted, I remember the flood of emotions that came into me. The fact that I could make it in a school from a continuation school, I think I sat there like, wow, like this is actually happening. Like this is not just something in the movies that you see. But then a big proponent that came down was like, how am I gonna pay for it, right? How am I gonna pay for it? I'll be away from family. I'm from Sacramento. I'm from a Pacific Islander community. We're really tight. And so the fact that I was staying away from them, or going away, I think that became a big thing and a big motive of concern for my parents. And then even then, it's like, I think when coming onto the Cal campus, I immediately felt overwhelmed when I went into Wheeler Hall, and I still remember, they said how many of y'all were first in your class to graduate? Half of the stadium, or if not most of them, raised their hand, and I sat there, I was like, I was 12, to be honest. I think looking at it now, I'm so grateful for those experiences because it shows me that I'm worth it. I think just looking at it, if I could go back and tell my younger self, I would tell him to chill out. It's gonna get better. And I think you start to discover that as you go through Cal. You start to discover that people are at different places and people come in different ways, right? And it's okay, stay in your lane. You got this, yeah.
Thank you. Shaka and Isabella, this one's for you. What advice would you give new admits and their family members as they consider Berkeley as an option? And what were the major factors in your decision-making process? What do you wish you would have known?
I think the biggest advice is to research the school you're going to. I know it's really easy to kind of get caught up in everyone's opinions and your family telling you, go here, this is better, or go here, stay home. And I'm a first-generation college student, so that was like very confusing because I had family telling me to go to USC. Boo, USC, I didn't get in. But, and then I had family in the Bay Area telling me to go to Berkeley, so it was just very conflicting. And yeah, I think researching the school and just finding out what factors are important to you. I think for me it was diversity. I wanted to go to a school that had a population that resembled me, and I came here, just like you guys, I came here for the orientation, like one weekend, and I found like so many people that resembled me, and it was so comforting, and it was just a community that I knew that I could find myself in because I grew up with such a close-knit community and I needed that going to college. Even though I had family like in the Bay Area, I just needed a community of peers and a community of students. And I found that here. And EOP is a great community too. You guys are just gonna, if you come here, when you come here, you guys will feel it and it's amazing. And yeah, and imposter syndrome is real. And I know you might feel that you don't belong here, you might feel like it's a mistake, but you deserve to be here, and it's great.
"100% well said. I'd say the number one thing I would advise is to be open-minded. I know for many of you here, I know for myself, coming to Cal was an adjustment and felt really different. I went to a high school in LA that was 89% Latinx identifying, less than 5% Asian, and less than 1% white. So coming to Cal was, to say it was a shift is definitely an understatement. But I think in understanding that like we as humans have a tendency to, close ourselves off and be closed-minded when we come to new environments. I really want to challenge you to fight against that. I think the benefits of Cal are in the resources that it provides and the new opportunities that it provides. And so taking advantage of that is really, really important. And then I think the major factors in my decision-making were really three things, short and sweet. History, diversity, and then the last thing I'll talk about a little more. So I want to be a civil rights attorney, so knowing about Cal's, thank you. Not the most lucrative job, but I love it. So learning about Cal's history and its role in pushing civil rights, its proximity to Oakland and the Black Panthers and stuff like that really spoke to me and was really important. Diversity is really big for me. Like every prestigious university of higher education, we have progress to make, but one thing I can say is because of Cal, at the age of 20, I can say I have friends from literally all across the world, and that's 100% because of Cal. One of my apartment mates, my roommates, he's from Shanghai in Germany, and like seeing him every morning at 8 a.m. FaceTiming his mom in German, it's just like heartwarming, and these aren't the experiences you expect to see. It is an experience that you don't really get everywhere, and so I'm really grateful for that. And then the last factor is actually one based off of watching my parents navigate their lives and navigating my own, which is that struggle breeds resiliency. And do y'all know that song by John Legend where he says, I love your perfect imperfections? Yeah, so that's, exactly. So that's exactly how I feel about Cal. I mean, hence the blue and white, or the blue and gold vans. Cal there are a lot of things to love about Cal. You guys will hear it when people are talking to you about why they came to Cal. But for me, even the things that seemed like cons were beautiful and things that I felt like were really important. For instance, at Cal, no one is gonna hold your hand walking to class, unlike other universities, Stanford. But no shade, just speaking facts.
All the shade.
But, I say that to say this, what else won't hold your hand? The real world, the job market. I see some parents nodding, probably them as well after you graduate. But I think that Cal's ability to breed independence, breed resiliency is really important. And the beautiful struggle that comes with navigating this campus as an EOP student, I think is like no other and is really important. And so that for me is kind of why I wanted to come. And then I think the last part of the question is what you wish you knew. And for me, it was just understanding the importance of being vulnerable. Being vulnerable is something that like many of us don't want to do, and I understand it. But I think an understanding that like you will struggle and that like, yes, this campus, when it was constructed in 1868, was not built for people like us, I think is more so the reason why we need to be here, why we need to continue the struggle, bring the knowledge back to our communities and continue the fight. And so I would just say, be vulnerable, allow yourselves to, experience new experiences, meet new people, and, bring that knowledge back.
I appreciate y'all. We got 2 more rounds left. We got 2 more questions for them, and then we're gonna keep going to the next portion of our program. So the next question is this. The question is gonna go to Shaka and Alexa. The question is, how have your identities shaped your transition to Cal and your overall student experience? And then at the first 2 rounds, we started playing with some things, so feel free to build on those. But we want to lift for folks that we all have intersectional identities and they shape our experiences. How have you learned to come from it from a place of asset, from a place of strength, something like healthy and generative for you? The mic is yours.
So as you guys saw earlier, I'm an intended computer science major, and regardless of where you go, that's going to be a really, really difficult major, and especially here at Berkeley. Even knowing that, I came in wanting to be like an overachiever, like I was in high school, which I know a lot of you were. And it's like, as a student of color, you feel that need to like overachieve and show everyone like, yeah, I can be just as good as these other students. But if you put yourself in that mindset, you're gonna set yourself up for failure. So at this moment in time, like I was coming into Berkeley, I was struggling a lot with mental illness. Like it was not a fun time for me. And I was still undiagnosed, so even then I didn't have like the vocabulary to communicate what I was like struggling with. And with Berkeley being like a completely new environment, like even though I went to school like 2 BART stations away, and I like grew up in Berkeley almost, walking down Sproul as a student is completely different, and it's gonna feel like you're almost in like a whole new country or something. Like it's very, very different. And so knowing that I was struggling, I applied for the Disabled Students Program. It was a difficult process. It was a difficult process that required a lot of like vulnerability and like learning what it is that you need help with and asking for that help. But with all of those resources and that new community that I got, like knowing that all of these other students are also like DSP and they're also doing STEM, it makes me really excited knowing that we all share these struggles and that we can continue working with each other. So now I can navigate my classes in campus with new confidence, with the support that I have, and I really truly found my community.
For me was, I think finding my footing within, or finding people who looked like me on campus, and so that for me that was like the Black community, finding my footing there, and then I think once I got really involved, towards like the 2nd semester of my freshman year, I felt confident enough. Then imposter syndrome started to go away, and I started branching out into other areas of campus, and I think that in doing so, I noticed that one thing I can say confidently is that Cal's is making a very positive shift in its support for EOP students. If you haven't already told about, if you haven't already seen from the people in this room. And so I think for me, that's especially been reflected in our student government. Just last year, we elected our first Latina student body president. This year, I'm the first Black man to serve as student body president in 20 years. Appreciate it. And my vice president, mi hermano, Giancarlo Fernandez, is also a low-income, first-generation DSP, 30-year junior chancellor, the first in the history of Berkeley student government to ever serve that position. And he's from Oaxacan and Peruvian descent. So I think we're finally getting to take space and represent our needs on campus, and that's really, really important. And I think this shift is even seen in our administration. Dania spoke earlier today. The Chancellor, I've worked with her very closely in my position, and she's done a lot of good work to support us. And so I think, in short, it's very important to find your community, but I think it's even more important to branch elsewhere, put yourself in vulnerable situations, and make progress there. But yeah.
Beautiful. All right, y'all, we're going to our final question. I'm looking at the way the time moves and then the way that the Spirit is moving us. So I'm gonna adapt the last question, okay? So from the last question, I'm gonna ask Isabella and Orisi to answer this question. There's been a lot of changes in our world because of the things that are happening in the world. And you are experiencing those changes as students, as recent alum. So a question that we have for you all today is, what is a lesson or something that you learned in the last year that you would want to share with the students that are here and their families and their loved ones who are here to support them? What is a lesson that you want to share with them today? And Isabella, do you want to kick us off?
So, like many of you, I think doing school online was just incredibly isolating. I learned more effectively in like a tangible setting in a classroom with my peers. I process information by teaching it to other people. So being on Zoom, it was just awful. To be honest, it was awful. And so it was also hard for me to like translate productivity on Zoom to or productivity in person to we good? It was hard for me to translate being productive in person to being productive on Zoom. I feel like when I was doing classes on Zoom, it just didn't feel like I was doing anything because I was just sitting in front of a computer. But it was incredibly exhausting, and I didn't really realize that until I was like pushed to my breaking point. So I think the biggest lesson that I've learned over the past year, the past 2 years, is to take breaks and to really listen to your body and to be not only in tune with like your mind, but like with what your body is telling you. I was exhausted waking up, and I didn't really realize that that was just because I was overworking myself. So I've learned, I take a lot, way too many breaks now, but taking breaks is just very important. And I think listening to, just going out. Like if your friends are asking you to go to like brunch or something, do it. Because honestly, you're gonna remember all of the fun things that you had or all the fun experiences that you went through a semester, and you're kind of going to block out all of the bad things. So I think taking breaks and just, having fun is the really lesson I've learned.
I think I'm gonna speak from my heart on this one. I think during the pandemic, I think one thing that really showed is the power of your loved ones. And
Take your time.
I think the reason I say that is, like, I'm pretty sure y'all have supporters here today, right? Really treasure that. Really treasure that. I think both pre and post pandemic, I think my parents, as well as like my community, my EOP community, my undocumented community, my Pacific Islander community, have been the people that I go to. I think just thinking about how hard Cal is, just how hard life is, right? I think just looking at like your life now, I think we can all see how much love has been poured in, right? How much love, how much patience, how much guidance, right? The sacrifices that your parents have made, the sacrifices that your loved ones have made. I can't even like fathom how much my parents have worked their butt off to like even give me a chance to go to college, right? And so I think the biggest lesson that I think I would value, and I think you would greatly value, is really treasure the relationships that you have right now and build on it. Yeah, I think I'll share personally, like, in college, my junior year, Ming knows this too, I had a death experience. It was like, I gained weight to the point that I was like 350 pounds, right? And it was like, I lost 100 pounds, so I'm chill now. But yeah, but I think through that, yeah, I faced like mental health, like that was totally new to me. I didn't believe it. Like I struggled with depression, struggled with ADHD, and yeah, it was hard, right? I remember going into the EOP office, talking with Ming about it, and then like literally bawling out tears because I didn't know what to do, right? Like my parents were like wanting me to bring a degree home, and I could barely take care of myself on Cal campus, right? And this is real, right? That's why I say like really treasure the loved ones that you have, right? You never know when you're actually gonna need them, right? And you never know when they're gonna need you. And I think my responsibility being a first generation college student is like take what you know and bring it back, right? You are the legacy that your parents created, right? You are the legacy that those that sacrificed and put love in you created, right? And so really delve into that. I think, yeah, even just the theme of today's conference, the powered community, like, yeah. Like, I just want to applaud all the parents and all the people that came and support. Like, yeah, our dreams are made because of you guys. And so really treasure that. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you all for sharing your stories with us. It's really powerful. It's meaningful. It's a privilege for us to be able to witness your journey. Thank you for being so vulnerable. Y'all, thank you. Thank you, thank you. And our students will be here a little bit after the event, so if folks want to ask questions, thank them more, you can definitely do that. Thank you all so much. For many of us, first-gen students, low-income students, historically underrepresented, we experience a lot of mixed emotions, as they shared, when we're receiving our admissions to Cal. And we can be intimidated because this is supposed to be the top public university, but also the #1 research institution. And we want you to know that Berkeley has renowned faculty that care about you and want to be a part of your support network. Today, we are joined by our dear friend of EOP, Dr. Amani Allen, who currently serves as the Executive Associate Dean and Professor of Community Health Sciences and Epidemiology. She is also the 2022 recipient of the Chancellor's Award for Advancing Institutional Equity and Excellence. Woo! Waiting for that award ceremony on Monday. And she will be sharing some reflections about her own academic journey. So I'll just read a quick excerpt from your bio as you're coming up if you want. Dr. Allen's research focuses on race and socioeconomic health disparities and the measurement and study of racism and social determinant of health. Her research interests include examining racial inequalities in health as they exist across populations, across places, and over the life course. She is also the principal investigator of the African American Women's Heart and Health Study and has published numerous articles in top scientific journals and has had her work featured on CNN, NPR, U.S. World News Report, and many other news outlets. She was honored as our campus's distinguished graduate student mentor, and we are so lucky and fortunate and blessed to have you here with us today. Thank you.
They sure know how to make you feel good. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. And I have to say that when I was sitting there just listening to everyone, I was like, I don't even really need to get up now. Like, I'm ready to sign up to go to Cal. I don't know about all of you all. So just thank you for being here with us today. Thank you for having me and inviting me to come and just be a part of this very special moment. I want to say congratulations for your admission into the top public university in the world. And the #4 university overall among all privates and publics. This is an incredible accomplishment. Please take a moment to congratulate yourselves. And when I describe us as public, what do I mean by that? I mean Berkeley is for you. It's for each and every person sitting in this room. The University of California began on March 23, 1868, when then California Governor Henry Haight signed the Organic Act to create a great public university that would serve all people equally. The UC's egalitarian ideals form the foundation of our mission to educate the populace and contribute to a thriving democracy. It was determined that, quote, everyone who was willing and able should get a college education. The UC was created for the wealthy and the low income alike, and leads the nation in educating more first generation and low income college students than any other institution of its caliber, and more than the entire Ivy League combined. That said, yes, please. And Ming, what? Shh. That said, for many of us, it's not easy to be at a predominantly white institution that has experienced increasing tuition costs. That alone can make many of us feel like we don't belong. From the beginning, my educational experience has been colored by my race. My first experience with race was in kindergarten. I remember it as if it was yesterday, and I'm nowhere near in kindergarten today. So the fact that I can remember this experience so vividly so many years later tells you how important that initial experience with race was for me. I was on the playground, and a little white girl came up to me, and she started rubbing the back of my hand. And I didn't understand what she was doing. And I asked her what she was doing, and she said she was trying to rub the dirt off of my skin. I was confused. It wasn't dirt, it was my brown skin. I went home and told my mother what happened. The little girl wasn't trying to be mean. However, it left me confused and hurt. After that, and from what my mother tells me, other experiences that conveyed to her that me and my sister were being miseducated, mis-socialized, and dangerously so about who we were, she enrolled us into Watoto Shule, which means School for Children in Swahili, an African charter school in Washington, D.C. There, I would learn to think positively about myself, who I am, develop a sense of pride in myself and my people, and understand my ancestral history. However, throughout my life, that sense of pride that I have about who I am and where I come from has always existed alongside or under a mantle of marginalized status in society. In classrooms and colleges, at work, in restaurants, in shopping malls, and when trying to hail a cab. Do you all know what a cab is? Okay. Okay, I know, yeah, like today is Uber and all of that, but in my day it was a cab or a taxi. That marginalized status shows up when people tell me how articulate I am, as if I shouldn't be, having received 26 years of education. As much as my white stepfather, who I love dearly, tries to understand, he will never understand what it has been like for me and for my mother, who is here with me today, for me to be me, or for my mother to be who she is today, having grown up drinking out of a colored-only water fountain in the Jim Crow South. Similarly, I will never know what it's like for someone who walks around in life with any other identity that is marginal. From personal experience, I know the distress that comes from working twice as hard just to be seen as equal, and then to still face obstacles at every turn just because of the color of my skin. As a scientist, These perspectives have shaped every aspect of my work. They are valuable because they have motivated a very deep commitment to understanding how the social experience of race, because by the way, race is not a real thing, right? Race is something that happens to us. So having been racialized, I wanted to understand how the social experience of race gets into the body. Not only am I Black, I'm a woman, I'm somewhere between the ages of 30 and 50, and I live in East Oakland. So when I walk around in the world, that is who I walk around as, all of those things. So thinking about marginalized social statuses, understanding how race gets into the body to impact health, what we call the embodiment of race, cannot be asked independent of the social experience of gender and the social experience of other axes of social identity that determine risk and ultimately health outcomes. I'm a social epidemiologist, as Lauren said. That means I study the social determinants of health. And what do I mean by that? I'm referring to the conditions in which we are all born, in which we all grow, in which we all live, work and play, and in which we age. That includes aspects of our immediate social environments, such as our home and family environment, our work environments, the conditions of our neighborhoods, and the day-to-day social interactions that shape our day-to-day social experiences. I'm also referring to broader social forces and systems that determine the day-to-day conditions of our lives, such as the social and economic policies and political systems that determine access to life chances and opportunities, such as social norms and institutional policies and practices that provide advantages to some and disadvantages to others. I study how these conditions and systems determine life experiences and opportunities differently for different social groups, and how those differences become embodied to impact mental and physical health and well-being and overall life expectancy. Okay, I have like 1.5 minutes left. I'm not going to get through all this. I was born and raised in Washington, D.C. There is an 8-year difference in life expectancy based on where people live. Babies born in D.C. proper or in Prince George's County, where my sister now lives, have a life expectancy that is 8 years shorter than babies born in neighboring Fairfax and Arlington counties. So what is it about place that matters for health? I'm going to skip some of this. Let me see. Let me get to... Okay, I'm going to skip some of this, and we can talk more at the end just for the sake of time. I was really trying to think, what do I say to them? This is our first year in person, and it just all came flooding out. So I'm going to skip some of that, and I'm going to just say a word about my current role as Executive Associate Dean at Berkeley Public Health. In that role, I'm responsible for faculty development and faculty affairs, education policy and curriculum, special projects, and being right hand to the dean. One of the projects I'm most proud of is ARC for Justice, the anti-racist community for justice and social transformative change. ARC for Justice is our initiative focused on making Berkeley Public Health an anti-racist institution. And it has been a true labor of love. Never in a million years did I ever see myself being in a position of influence in making decisions like this. When I went to grad school, having left undergrad with not the best grades, my advisor said to me, quote, "I don't know how you got in, but you're here now." That was a terrible, terrible way for me to start my graduate education. It certainly didn't make me feel like I belonged. I left undergrad with less than a 2.5 GPA. I went on to finish at the top of my class at the George Washington University School of Public Health and Health Services, then Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health, and am now Executive Associate Dean at Berkeley Public Health at, again, what? The #1 public institution in the world. You can do whatever you want. I'm here to tell you that you do belong. Berkeley is a place of possibilities. Our Chancellor has spearheaded efforts to maintain Berkeley as a top public institution of higher education. I've had the pleasure of working to support professional development of women, African American students on campus, and various other multicultural initiatives on campus. Faculty and students alike play a key role in the governance of this great institution. I can truly say that I'm proud to be a faculty member at Berkeley. I'm proud to have had the background I've had because it's what's made me who I am today. And I have the great privilege of passing that along as I work with students, I'm almost finished, I promise, of color, first-generation students, low-income students, high-income students, all kinds of students as a mentor and ultimately as a colleague and a friend. If you decide to come to Berkeley, I invite you to come find me on the 5th floor of Berkeley Way West, and if you do, then lunch is on me. Congratulations again, and go Bears!
Can we give it up one more time, y'all? Like, yeah, it's underneath. Okay, so we got a little surprise for y'all. Yeah?
Yeah, I think we're ready.
Someone is sitting in a chair that underneath your chair, there is a winner, winner, you have a prize. Look underneath your chair and see if you have the winner, winner, you have a prize. Look. You said those are never in the front row? There it is. You want to tell them what it is? Go. Okay.
So your prize comes up to the front at the end of this. We're ending in shortly, and then we'll give it to you. Oh.
Congratulations, you just won a new laptop.
Okay. Yuki is right here in front waving. That's who you can claim your laptop with. Congratulations.
All righty, y'all. So we're going to go ahead and move into trying to bring it all together. I don't know where you all woke up this morning. I don't know what happened between waking up and getting into this building. And I don't know what happened before you all to get into today. But I want to say thank you all so much for everything that you have done, everything that you have overcome, and the fact that you're choosing to be here with us today. For those of you that have already enrolled in Berkeley, can we give a round of applause to our new Golden Bears? For those of you that you're still not sure if you should come to Berkeley or somewhere else, please have a conversation with us after this. Let us know what's really going on. Let us know if it's a matter of proximity, if it's what you're trying to study, if you don't know if you're going to be able to afford it. I'll tell you something really quickly. I know that when I came to Berkeley, I come from a background where we had to grow up in 15 different places, housing instability, food instability. My mom was undocumented, the works. And to me, it was really important that future generations of students could have healthier and better experiences. So one of the projects that I'm a part of is we opened up a basic needs center on UC Berkeley's campus to make sure that all students can have their basic needs met. And that project now exists across all 10 UC campuses, all 23 CSUs, and all 116 community colleges. So whatever you are experiencing, you can come here, you can connect with the right people, you can learn, you can develop, and you can turn your challenges and your stories into the future generation's assets and opportunities. And there's no better place that knows how to do that than the UC system and UC Berkeley specifically. So I hope that you can give us a shot, have a conversation with us so that we can talk through that. And for those of you who came, you're like, damn, I am so glad that I'm not going to Berkeley. Don't tell nobody. Be about your business, and we wish you the absolute best, because we also know that some of you may be in that circumstance, but let us know where you're going to end up so we can be friends, because maybe Berkeley is not for you right now, but maybe you come get your master's, maybe you come get your PhD, Or maybe you come do your entire career here because there's people here from all over the world, from all over universities, believing in the better world that we all deserve. So thank you all so much for being here today. Can we give it up for you all? And as we pass the mic, I want to make sure we do one last thing. Can I hear from this side? Let me hear you say, I belong. I belong. One more time, let me hear you say, I belong. I belong. Let me hear you say, we belong. We belong. One more time, let me hear you say, we belong. We belong. Let me get over here. I belong. I belong. We belong. We belong. I belong. I belong. We belong. We belong. Middle section, y'all ready? I belong. I belong. We belong. I belong. We belong. Now all three, ready? I belong. We belong. Louder, I belong. We belong. Give it up for yourselves.
Thank you all. So I promise we are wrapping up because we do have some other programs happening throughout the day. So I'll just do some final reminders. In your registration bags, you should have an agenda. It's similar to the one we showed at the beginning of the presentation. There are different workshops and stations that will tell you where the next location is for where you want to go. You have choices. There will also be in here at 11 o'clock tabling and events happening for you to meet other resources and some of the programs we talked about earlier. Also, so I heard this happening a little bit as I was preparing and calming my nerves up here, but there's an accept your offer station in the back. So when you accept your offer, celebrate with our team, our students, our staff. Make sure to connect with us. There are campus tours that are starting at 2:30 on Sproul Plaza. Those are offered in both Chinese and Spanish. Oh. Okay, sorry. Tours are all day. If you need another language, those are at 2:30. And you can always email us, eopnewadmit@berkeley.edu. And please, 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 before you leave, pull out your phones, follow us on Instagram, follow our Facebook, EOP at Cal. And the last thing is if you need financial aid advising, this QR code is also in your registration bag, but if you want to use this, you can also sign up for financial aid advising. All righty. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here. Congratulations. And we will be around all day if you have more questions.
Can we cue the music though?